Have you ever wondered what secrets the ancient world left behind? When the cities crumbled and the languages died, strange, eerie facts stayed buried, waiting for someone like you to listen in the dark. Somewhere deep in the deserts of Egypt, there's a hidden chamber beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza. Older than the stones above it. Local stories claim the room is sealed because anyone who enters disappears, never to be seen again. Even now, modern archaeologists avoid that section, with only a single ancient tablet warning: he who disturbs the eternal silence will be lost to the ages. In Rome, there's a set of stairs known as the Scala Sancta, the Holy Stairs. Legend says that if you climb them on your knees while reciting a prayer at every step, your sins will be forgiven. But those who tried it alone at midnight reported hearing whispers in ancient tongues and feeling invisible hands on their shoulders. The Library of Alexandria was said to hold knowledge of the impossible. Texts about creatures that existed long before humans, and secrets of the skies and stars that could drive a man insane. When it burned, countless strange truths vanished. But it's whispered that a single book survived, passed down through secret societies. No one knows where it is now. In Japan, an old village called Sujisawa vanished overnight. Maps erased it. No one would speak of it. The locals claim a darkness took over the town, and its people simply stopped existing. Hikers sometimes find old structures buried in the woods, but government officials deny the town ever existed. In ancient Greece, philosophers believed that mirrors could trap souls. That's why in some buried temples, they left mirrors beside tombs, to catch the restless spirits of the dead. Superstition says if you stare too long into one of those old glass frames, you'll see not your reflection, but the last soul it captured. In the Mayan ruins, a well called cenote sagrado was used for sacrifices. Archaeologists found bones of hundreds thrown into its depths. The legend says the spirits of those victims linger in the water, and on silent nights, their reflections still appear on the surface. China's terracotta army guards the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. But what's lesser known is that the emperor's body was buried in a chamber said to have rivers of flowing mercury. Ancient texts say the toxic air would kill any intruder. Even today, modern teams hesitate to open the tomb fully. Every device sent inside stops working, or vanishes. In Scotland, a centuries-old church hides a stone with markings no one has ever been able to decipher. Known as the Devil's Cipher, it's believed to be a warning about a day when the dead will rise. And oddly, every few decades, the stone's position shifts slightly, as though it moves on its own. The Nazca lines in Peru, massive drawings etched into the desert, only visible from the sky, were created over 2,000 years ago. While most are simple animals, one figure, known only as the Observer, depicts a humanoid figure with large, round eyes staring at the heavens. No one knows why it's there, or who it was meant for. And then, there's the Well of Barhout in Yemen. Called the Well of Hell by locals. It's a dark pit that descends hundreds of feet into the earth. Legends say it was created to trap evil spirits. Travelers claim a putrid smell rises from it at night, and nearby animals refuse to go near it. Imagine these places, ancient, abandoned, yet alive in their silence. The stones remember things the world has forgotten. And on nights like this, when the wind sounds almost like a voice, perhaps they're calling out again. But we're just getting started. The world outside your window hides secrets too strange to believe. Nature isn't as gentle as you might think. In the quietest corners of the earth, there are things that shouldn't exist, but do. There's a place in Honduras called Lloro, where it literally rains fish. Several times a year, after heavy storms, hundreds of small, silvery fish are found flapping in the streets, far from any body of water. The locals call it Lluvia de Peces, the rain of fish. No scientist can fully explain it. In Tanzania, there's a lake called Lake Natron. Its waters are so alkaline they can literally mummify animals. Birds that accidentally land on the surface turn to stone-like figures, perfectly preserved in death. Photographers have captured eerie images of these creatures, forever frozen mid-flight. In the deep forests of Japan, there's a tree that bleeds. When cut, its sap runs a dark red, thick and sticky like blood. Local legends claim the trees are alive in ways we don't understand. The villagers say if you listen closely, you can hear faint heartbeats inside the trunks. In the Arctic Circle, there's a phenomenon known as the ice whisper. In the dead of night, the frozen air carries distant, untraceable whispers. Explorers claim to have heard voices calling them by name, though no one else was around. It's believed the cold itself can trap sounds from years past and release them when the air is just right. There's a species of jellyfish known as Turritopsis dohrnii, nicknamed the immortal jellyfish. When faced with injury or death, it can revert its cells back to their earliest form and begin life again. In theory, it could live forever, though no one knows how old the oldest one might be. In the dense Amazon jungle, locals whisper about a black butterfly the size of a man's face. It's said to appear only before someone nearby dies. No official record of the creature exists, but villagers claim its wings are so dark they seem to absorb light itself. Off the coast of Australia lies a sea known for rogue waves. These giant walls of water appear out of nowhere, sometimes reaching over 80 feet high. Sailors call them the drowned giants. The terrifying part? Science still struggles to predict when or why they'll strike. In a remote cave in Mexico, crystals taller than a man grow silently in the darkness. The Cave of the Crystals holds some of the largest natural crystals ever found, some over 30 feet long. The heat inside reaches deadly levels, and explorers can only stay a few minutes before the air turns toxic. On a remote island in the Pacific, there's a beach made entirely of green sand. The locals avoid it at night, claiming it glows faintly under the moon and distorts the stars above it. No one has stayed long enough to find out what happens after midnight. And in Canada, there's a bay called Baie des Chalets. On certain nights, a ghostly ship appears in the distance, aflame but never consumed. Known as the Fire Ship, sailors swear it silently crosses the water before vanishing. No ship is ever found. The natural world pretends to be predictable, but it hides things older and stranger than we dare imagine. Every leaf, every stone, every drop of water might hold a memory of something lost to time. And there's far worse waiting. Science was meant to explain the world, to bring light to the dark. But sometimes, it finds things it can't control. Things too strange, too dangerous, or too terrifying to reveal. There's a star named KIC 8462852, better known as Tabby's star. Astronomers noticed its light dims in a way no other star does. Massive objects seem to pass in front of it, blocking out the light in uneven patterns. Some believe it's a swarm of alien megastructures. Scientists, to this day, have no proper explanation. In 1977, a radio telescope in Ohio picked up a 72-second signal from deep space. It was so powerful and precise, the astronomer on duty wrote, "Wow," next to the data printout. No one ever traced its source. The signal never repeated. Deep in Siberia, scientists drilled into the Earth's crust. At over 40,000 feet down, they claimed to have recorded strange, human-like screams coming from the hole. The project was abandoned without warning. Officially, it was due to unmanageable heat. Unofficially, the tapes were locked away. In 1994, a strange incident happened in Zimbabwe. 60 schoolchildren claimed to see a metallic disc land near their playground. Small, gray figures emerged, warning them about humanity's future. To this day, those children, now adults, tell the same story with disturbing accuracy. Quantum entanglement is a proven scientific phenomenon where two particles, no matter how far apart, remain connected. When one changes, the other instantly reacts. Some physicists quietly wonder if consciousness itself works the same way, that we might be linked to things beyond our dimension. In the oceans, there's a sound known only as the bloop. Detected by underwater microphones in 1997, it was louder than any known animal. Scientists suspect it came from a living creature, yet nothing that large has ever been discovered. There's a scientific theory suggesting the universe may be a hologram. That everything you see, feel, and experience is part of a vast, simulated projection. Several experiments hint at data anomalies in cosmic radiation that support this. The most unsettling part? Some researchers believe the glitches are becoming more frequent. In 1959, 9 hikers in Russia's Ural Mountains mysteriously died in what's known as the Dyatlov Pass incident. Their tents were shredded from the inside. Bodies found with inexplicable injuries, crushed skulls, missing tongues, and high levels of radiation. No official explanation has ever satisfied what really happened. In the deserts of Nevada lies Area 6, a lesser-known, highly restricted site even more classified than the infamous Area 51. Satellite images reveal strange structures and runways leading to nowhere. What goes on there has never been disclosed. And then there's something called sudden adult death syndrome. Perfectly healthy adults, with no warning or symptoms, simply drop dead in their sleep. Autopsies reveal no cause. Some cultures believe it's a night spirit taking their last breath. Science likes to pretend it has all the answers. But in the dead of night, under cold starlight, even the most brilliant minds confess, we know far less than we think. And you haven't heard the worst of it yet. Some mysteries were never meant to be solved. And some stories, no matter how old, find ways to haunt us. Across every culture, every country, are tales of things that move in the dark, and refuse to be forgotten. In 1876, in a small Kentucky town, chunks of raw meat fell from a clear blue sky. Witnesses claimed to see the flesh raining down for several minutes. No one could explain where it came from. Samples were examined and confirmed to be real animal tissue, but no planes existed at the time, and no one nearby lost any livestock. In the Philippines, locals fear the aswang, a creature that appears human by day but transforms at night. It grows long, thread-like tongues to reach through windows and drain the life from sleeping victims. Villagers claim you can hear the faint clicking of its tongue in the trees before it strikes. In 1930, an entire Inuit village in Canada vanished. A trapper arrived to find fires still burning, meals half-eaten, and not a single soul remaining. No tracks, no struggle, no explanation. Authorities abandoned the investigation after weeks without a clue. In Venice, Italy, there's a small island called Poveglia. For centuries, it was used to quarantine plague victims and later became an asylum. Locals refuse to set foot there, claiming the island is cursed. Visitors report disembodied voices, shadowy figures, and a heavy air of sorrow. There's an old urban legend about the smiling man. People walking alone at night encounter a tall, thin man with an unnatural, stretched smile. He dances or moves in jerky, puppet-like motions. He doesn't speak. He simply watches. The unsettling part? Countless unrelated people across the world have reported identical sightings. In 1978, a radio transmission known as the Numbers Station began broadcasting in Eastern Europe. A woman's voice reads sequences of numbers, sometimes accompanied by strange music. No country has claimed responsibility, and it continues sporadically even today. Some believe it's for spies, others, something darker. In the American Southwest, skinwalker legends run deep. According to Navajo beliefs, these are witches who can shape-shift into animals. Modern-day reports describe encounters with unnaturally fast creatures, humanoid figures with animal eyes, and chilling mimicry of human voices in the wild. There's an abandoned hotel in Colombia called Hotel del Salto, perched on a cliff overlooking a waterfall. Locals claim the spirits of those who leapt to their deaths still linger in the empty halls. Visitors report cold touches, phantom footsteps, and glimpses of figures in the mist. In the deep woods of Romania's Hoia forest, known as the world's most haunted forest, a perfect circle where no trees grow marks the heart of unexplained phenomena. Electronics fail, lights appear in the fog, and visitors experience sudden nausea and fear. And then, there's the legend of the Midnight Game. An old pagan ritual played alone, where you invite a dark spirit into your home. The goal is to survive until 3:33 a.m. without being caught. Countless online accounts claim to have attempted it, and regretted it. The world hides more than it reveals. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed. And your final chapter will show you why. Throughout history, there are stories so disturbing, so grotesque, they were buried and forgotten for generations. Not because no one believed them, but because people were too terrified to remember. In 1518, the city of Strasbourg was gripped by a horrifying event known as the Dancing Plague. Dozens of people began to dance uncontrollably in the streets for days without rest. Some collapsed from exhaustion. Others died of heart attacks and strokes. No one ever found the cause. The town's leaders, desperate for answers, hired musicians to play along, hoping it might end. In 1901, two women visiting the gardens of Versailles in France claimed to see people dressed in 18th-century clothing. They witnessed an eerie stillness in the air and a sense of suffocating dread. Later, they realized the individuals they'd seen had been dead for over a century. The event became known as the Moberly-Jourdain incident and remains one of the strangest time-slip cases in history. In the 1940s, a series of anonymous letters began arriving in Circleville, Ohio. They contained personal secrets, threats, and warnings. One resident was killed in a suspicious car accident shortly after receiving a letter. Despite decades of investigation and even an innocent man being imprisoned, the real writer was never identified. The letters continued long after. During World War II, a British submarine surfaced off the coast of Scotland. The entire crew was dead, no injuries, no signs of struggle. They sat in their posts as if frozen in time. Official records list them as lost to an accident, but none of their bodies showed any explanation. In 1999, a VHS tape was anonymously mailed to a Chicago news station. It showed hours of static, then sudden, rapid images of a masked figure standing motionless in a dark room. A low, guttural hum played in the background. To this day, no one knows who sent it, or why. In ancient Japan, a practice called ubasud involved carrying an elderly relative to a remote mountain and leaving them to die, believed to lighten the burden of famine-stricken families. Some stories claim their spirits still haunt the forests of Nagano Prefecture, crying out at night for the children who abandoned them. In 1836, a group of boys playing near Edinburgh discovered a small cave filled with tiny wooden coffins. Inside each was a doll-like figure, dressed in cloth. 17 in total. No one claimed them. No one explained them. Historians still debate whether they were linked to witchcraft, murder victims, or unknown rituals. In 1967, Betty Andreasson claimed to be abducted by extraterrestrials who spoke through telepathy and showed her visions of a world-ending flood. Multiple hypnotic regressions confirmed her consistent story over decades. Government records later showed unusual radar activity over her town that night. And the last one, for tonight. A mysterious manuscript called the Voynich manuscript was discovered in the early 1900s. Written in an unbreakable code with bizarre illustrations of unknown plants and astronomical charts, no one has ever translated it. Cryptographers, AI, and linguists have all failed. Some believe it was meant to be read by non-humans. Some stories fade with time. Some wait in the dark for someone brave enough to listen. And now, you have